Welcome back to Indiana Diecast Racing in the continuing action of the Final Fantasy Fracas. Today is part 1 of round 4. We're going to see 3 groups. The drivers on the left race today, and we've got 5 teams with their final driver hitting the track. And then in part 2, we'll see the other 3 groups on the right side of the screen. First up, for the first group of round 4, it's Numbskull from Numbskull Racing in his Bubble Gunner that he has won an impressive 9-lap victories out of 12 laps run. He is the number 1 seed in round 4. From Dogtown Racing, it's Tony Alva in his Bifocal 2. He is the first of several last men standing for their teams. From DRT3K, it's Cookie Monster in her Diesel Boy. She is also the final driver for DRT3K. And from Filipiak Performance Diecast, in his Street Shaker, it's Deuce. Deuce has scored 16 fewer points than the number 1 seed Numbskull and is the bottom seed of this round. We've got Numbskull, Tony, Cookie, and Deuce as they get started. Numbskull with a strong start. Nobody's going to catch him in turn 2. And hopefully this is not how this group goes. Ooh, Deuce gets up on the wall. I think he recovers, but we may have lost Cookie Monster. Numbskull's going to coast to... he's going to slide spin on the wall to an easy victory. And Tony's stuck on the wall. I think Deuce has rolled on the final straight. And Cookie Monster is nowhere to be seen. That'll be an unfortunate triple DNF. Not the way we want to start off round 4. Looks like Deuce got up on the wall and then got underneath Cookie Monster, who wrecked in Echo Base. And then Tony got sideways on the final straight, and Deuce couldn't find a way around, and they both DNF. And everybody hands Numbskull an early 4 points. That is not a lead anybody needs to give the number 1 seed. They rotate around, and Cookie Monster's on the pole for lap 2, followed by Deuce. And I don't think Numbskull's going to catch him. Cookie Monster leads for the first time today. Deuce trying to find a way around. They enter the Savage Square, and Cookie Monster gets some separation, and it's going to be Cookie Monster. Ooh, Numbskull, then Tony, as Deuce gets deuced off the final straight. I mean, that's the most clever I could be, I guess, with the number 2 joke. Another unfortunate DNF for FPD. It almost looks like Numbskull took him out. So, shots have been fired by Team Numbskull, who leads by 3 after 2. Deuce on the pole with Tony behind. Deuce will look to get on the board here, but I mean, 2 DNFs at this stage in the game is going to be pretty tough to recover from. But he's looking pretty good right now. Uh-oh, Cookie Monster has rolled. Deuce is going to take lap 3, and we've got another triple DNF on our hands as Numbskull and Tony Alva get hung up behind an inverted Cookie Monster. Taking a closer look, Cookie Monster rolls in turn 5, and then I think Numbskull just couldn't find a way around, snowplows underneath her, and then Tony, also a victim of the on-track melee, gets stuck behind them all. And Numbskull maintains his 3-point lead after 3 laps. That'll be, it's unlikely that he will not advance. However, second place is still very much up for grabs. Deuce with another strong start. He's out front again. Cookie Monster and Tony challenging for second. Cookie Monster out front now. The group much closer than they've been all day today. And it's going to be Deuce, Cookie Monster, Tony Alva, and Numbskull, a surprising 4th place finish on lap 4. I think Deuce wins the award for the best crossover, take the lead in turn 2 lap. Oh, if that's an award. Probably could have said that much more eloquently. And we've got a tie. Numbskull and Deuce tie for the win of the group. They will both advance to the quarterfinals And Cookie Monster will be the first potential wildcarder. We'll have 4 of those this round, so 4 out of the 6 third-place drivers will also advance. We move on to Group 2, and I've got to apologize to Flips Racing. This was supposed to be Flip driving in this group, but Smooth Keith Stone decided to hit the track, and rather than re-record the entire group, we went with it. He's in an unobtainium, and all of his prior competitors have been eliminated. Numbskull gets right back on the track in his Sir Ominous. This is, out of his 3 cars, the only one that is not a bubble gunner. And Sneaky Bob driving for Vapor Racing in his Count Muscula. He is the last of many Vapor Racing drivers in this tournament. And then Arlo rears his ugly head in the form of Cassie and Maddie. They are driving their Barbie Extra. This is the lightest of the remaining Arlo cars at 65 grams. So, Smooth Keith Stone, Numbskull, Sneaky Bob, and Cassie and Maddie. Keith with the early lead out of 2. Numbskull already challenging as they round Echo Base. Numbskull all over Keith. There, Keith gets some separation. They come down the final straight, and it's Keith, Numbskull, Sneaky Bob, and yep, there's Cassie and Maddie. Everyone completes the first lap. Taking a closer look, Keith got a pretty good start, and that's despite having a slightly longer vehicle, but man, Numbskull was challenging right away as they sailed down Hoth. But Flips Racing with the initial lead here in Group 2. They rotate around, and that puts Sneaky Bob on the pole, Smooth Keith Stone on the outside, and Keith and Numbskull with a great crossover. They are going to steal the lead from Sneaky Bob, and Keith is back out in front again. Numbskull again tailing in second. He's not able to close the distance, and it's Keith, Numbskull, Sneaky Bob, and Cassie and Maddie for a repeat performance of lap 1. It's probably pretty easy to say, but the cars that can get that massive advantage coming down the crossover on the back straight there, probably one of them is going to win the tournament. After 2, Smooth Keith Stone leads Numbskull by 2. Cassie and Maddie on the pole. They've got to make some noise here if they're going to stay relevant. And it looks like Sneaky Bob is going to make the pass just as they hit turn 2. Sneaky Bob leads for the first time today. Oh, and Smooth Keith Stone looks inside, can't get it done, but that was close. Keith gives Sneaky Bob a tap. Bob wins. Smooth Keith Stone is second. I think Cassie and Maddie took third, and Numbskull for the second time today, a surprising 4th place finish. Props to Sneaky Bob. Coming down the back straight in third, coming out of turn 2 in first. And he holds on to it for the win despite a very strong challenge by Keith Stone in Echo Base. So after 3, Smooth Keith Stone and Flips Racing leads Sneaky Bob by 3. Bob now in the P4 starting position. And Numbskull, looks like Numbskull's going to lead out of turn 2, and he takes off. It's the Numbskull show now on lap 4, followed by Smooth Keith Stone. Nobody's going to catch Numbskull. He takes lap 4. Keith is second. Uh-oh. And we've got a double DNF as the ladies are on their roof in the final turn. And that's really going to hurt Sneaky Bob. It's going to hurt Bob so much that it hurts him right out of the top 2. But he will be the number 1 wild card after 2 groups. So we move on to the final group of the day. And another driver from Flipiak Performance Diecast, it's Bree Nanner. She's driving a Bulletproof. She is the last of their 2 cars to make round 4. Another last man standing. This one for Golden Owl Racing, it's Grey Wizard in his Burlesque. It's Arlo again. This time it's Motor Tom's in his Lethal Diesel. One of 3 Lethal Diesels to make round 4. And finally, it's Baby Richie for Puffs Racing in his Power Pipes. this is the last driver for the impressive Puffs team. We head to the track. It's Bree Nenner, Grey Wizard, Motor Toms, and Baby Richie. Motor Toms gives Bree Nenner a tap, and they're going to come out of turn 2, 1, and 2, but Grey Wizard is challenging. Bree Nenner leads. Motor Toms looking for a way around, and it's going to be Bree Nenner, Motor Toms, and we've got a double DNF to open Group 3. Rounding the final turn, it looks like Grey Wizard got just a little loose, turned sideways, and then Baby Richie just gets caught up, and there's not enough of an incline on the final straight for either of them to really have a chance of recovering. Lap 2 with Motor Toms on the pole, followed by Baby Richie. Motor Toms quickly pulling away, and nobody's going to challenge him. Baby Richie comes out of turn 2 in second, followed by Bree Nenner and Grey Wizard. And Motor Toms is going to run away with the second lap. Baby Richie is second, Bree Nenner is third, and Grey Wizard is fourth. So after 2, Motor Toms jumps into the lead, 1 point over FPD's Bree Nenner. Baby Richie on the pole for lap 3. Motor Toms on the outside, and I bet he's going to have a great crossover move. And Motor Toms may be one of those drivers that we were talking about, at least making the finals, if not winning the entire tournament. Motor Toms rounds the final turn, and he is going to win the lap. Oh, Baby Richie takes a shot from Grey Wizard, but manages to finish second. Taking a closer look, looks like Baby Richie got up on the wall. Grey Wizard saves his bacon, and Bree Nenner anchors the group for fourth. Motor Toms clinches the group victory as we head to the final lap, but second place is still very much up for grabs. Grey Wizard on the pole, and I think Baby Richie's gonna pass him. He sure does. Baby Richie now out in front. It's Baby Richie, Motor Toms, Grey Wizard, and Bree Nenner. They round the final turn, and it's Baby Richie, followed by Motor Toms. Taking a closer look at that start, Baby Richie was just okay, but I think he got a decent little push from Motor Toms. That helped him get out front, and he never looked back. So Motor Toms and Baby Richie survive and move on. Bree Nenner will be added to the wildcard list. And there's 3. Nobody's safe, as we've still got 3 more drivers tomorrow. There's the current standings. The teams in green have advanced at least 1 driver to the next round. We'll say goodbye to Dogtown Racing and Golden Owl Racing. We thank you both for entering in the tournament. This has been Jim D for Indiana Diecast Racing. Be sure to check in next time for more slightly above mediocre diecast racing action and the conclusion to the round 4 of the Final Fantasy Fracas.